Welcome back to the 11th day, and we're going to jump right into it. A day of prayer for all the faithful who died during the past year. The sufferings of purgatory differ only in point of duration from those of hell. Eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor has the mind of man been able to conceive the pains that are suffered there. If God rewards as God, he also punishes as God. There are many now suffering in purgatory who last year, during the month of the Holy Souls, November, advocated the cause of their departed brethren, and who little thought they should so soon pass from this life. It is not saying too much to call devotion to the Holy Souls a kind of center in which all Catholic devotions meet, and which satisfies more than any other single devotion our duties in that way, because it is a devotion all of love and of disinterested love. If we cast an eye over the chief Catholic devotions, we shall see the truth of this. Take the devotion of St. Ignatius to the glory of God. This, if we may dare to use such an expression of him, was the special and favorite devotion of Jesus. Now, purgatory is simply a field white for the harvest of God's glory. Not a prayer can be said for the holy souls, but God is at once glorified, both by the faith and the charity of the mere prayer. Not an alleviation, however trifling, can befall any one of the souls, but he is forthwith glorified by the honor of his Son's precious blood, and the approach of the soul to bliss. Not a soul is delivered from its trial, but God is immensely glorified. Moreover, God's glory, his sweetest glory, the glory of his love, is sooner or later infallible in purgatory, because there is no sin there, nor possibility of sin. It is only a question of time. All that is gained is real gain. Again, what devotion is justly more dear to Christians than the devotion to the sacred humanity of Jesus? It is rather a family of various and beautiful devotions than a devotion by itself, yet see how they are all, as it were, fulfilled, affectionately fulfilled, in devotion to the holy souls. The quicker the souls are liberated from purgatory, the more is the bountiful harvest of his blessed passion multiplied and accelerated. Can the sacred humanity be honored more than by the adorable sacrifice of the Mass? But here is our chief action upon purgatory. Faith in the sacraments as used for the dead is a pleasing homage to Jesus, and the same may be said of faith in indulgences and privileged altars and the like. Devotion to our dearest mother is equally comprehended in this devotion to the holy souls, whether we look at her as the mother of Jesus, and so sharing the honors of his sacred humanity, or as mother of mercy, and so specially honored by works of mercy, or, lastly, whether we regard her as in a particular sense the queen of purgatory, and so having all manner of dear interest to be promoted in the welfare and deliverance of those suffering souls. Neither is devotion to the saints without its interest in this devotion for the dead. It fills them with the delights of charity, as it swells their numbers and beautifies their ranks and orders. Numberless patron saints are personally interested in multitude of souls. The affectionate relation between their clients and themselves not only subsists, but a deeper tenderness has entered into it because of the fearful suffering, and a livelier interest because of the accomplished victory. Devotion to the holy angels is also satisfied in devotion to the holy souls, for it keeps filling the vacant thrones in the angelic choirs, those unsightly gaps which the fall of Lucifer and 1/3 of the heavenly host occasioned. It multiplies the companions of the blessed spirits. They may be supposed also to look with an especial interest on that part of the church which lies in purgatory, because it is already crowned with their own dear gift, an ornament of final perseverance, and yet it has not entered at once into its inheritance as they did. Many of them also have a tender personal interest in purgatory. Thousands have clients there who specially devoted to them in life. Thousands are guardians to those souls, and their office is not over yet. There is a peculiarity about this devotion for the dead. It does not rest in words and feelings, nor does it merely lead to action indirectly and at the last. It is action in itself, and thus it is a substantial devotion. It speaks, and the deed is done. It loves, and a pain is lessened. It sacrifices, and the soul is delivered. Nothing can be more solid. The royal devotion of the Church is the works of mercy, and see how they are all satisfied in this devotion for the dead. It feeds the hungry souls with Jesus, the bread of angels. It gives them to drink in their incomparable thirst his precious blood. It clothes the naked with a robe of glory. It visits the sick with mighty powers to heal, and at the least consoles them by the visit. It frees the captives with a heavenly and eternal freedom from a bondage dreader farther than death. It takes in the strangers, and heaven is the hospice into which it receives them. It buries the dead in the bosom of Jesus in everlasting rest. When the last doom shall come, and our dearest Lord shall ask those 7 questions of his judicial process, those interrogatories of the works of mercy, how happy will that man be? And it may be the poorest beggar amongst us, who never gave an alms because he has had to live on alms himself, who shall hear his own defense sweetly and eloquently taken up by crowds of blessed souls, to whom he has done all these things while they waited in their prison house of hope. Father Faber. Cantipratanus writes of a sick man who was so impatient at the length and severity of his illness that he earnestly begged of God either to restore him to health or to take him out of the world. God sent an angel to say to him that he might choose whether he would suffer the pains of purgatory for 3 days or those of his sickness for another year. The sick man thought to himself that the 3 days would soon be over, while a year of illness meant a long trial of one's patience. He therefore chose the 3 days in purgatory. According to his wish, he died and went to purgatory. But it was hardly an hour there when he imagined that 3 days and even more had expired. He grew exceedingly anxious, sighed, suffered, and wept. "Ah," he said, "I must be more than a month here, and yet the door is not open to let me out. I am afraid that he who gave me that choice was not an angel in reality, but one disguised as an angel, who has shamefully deceived me." While busied with these thoughts, the angel came to comfort him and to congratulate him on having accomplished the 3rd part of his atonement. "What?" exclaimed the suffering soul. "The 3rd part? No more than that?" "No more. You have been here but 1 day. Your body is not yet buried." "Ah, holy guardian angel," cried the poor soul, "help me to return to my body and my former sufferings. I would rather endure them patiently for 10 years than bear these pains for 2 days more." Oh my God, how we deceive ourselves when we think little of venial sins and make nothing of them almost. When we do not penance for our mortal sins, when we blindly look on them as altogether remitted and forget all about the terrors of purgatory. I tremble when I read in the lives of the saints how severely even the holiest and most faithful servants of God had to suffer for the smallest sins and imperfections. In the Chronicles of the Friars Minor, we read of one of their number who died at Paris, and who on account of his angelic purity and holiness was looked on as more angel than men. In the same convent, there was at the time a very learned theologian who was also most enlightened in spiritual matters. He deliberately omitted to say mass for his deceased brother because he thought it unnecessary to help one who, as he certainly believed, was already high in glory. So great was the fame for sanctity that the deceased had gained during life. But in a few days' time, the latter appeared to him and said in a mournful voice, "Dear brother, for God's sake, have pity on me." The other, terrified, exclaimed, "Holy soul, what do you want from me?" "Masses, masses," was the eager answer, "that I may be released from my torments." "What, you in torments? You who have led such an angelic, innocent, and penitential life? Was not that sufficient purification atonement for you?" "Alas," sighed the soul, "no one believes how strictly God judges and how severely he punishes. No one believes it. Oh, my dear brethren, how many are there now in purgatory who are thought to be in heaven?" St. Antoninus relates in his Summa, part 4, cx, that a preacher of his order appeared a month after his death to the infirmarian of the convent in which he had lived, and told him that he had been kept in purgatory all that time for no other reason than that he had been too familiar and jocose in his conversations with seculars. A whole month he had to suffer because he had not observed the gravity of demeanor that becomes the religious when in the society of seculars, and how many masses and prayers had not been offered for him by his brethren in the meantime. And this is the end of day 11th. Thank you guys for listening, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.